You like the small?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the small because Jeff likes the small. We'll do the small. All right, I think I think it looks like we're live by now. So I'm going to come on to camera. Hey everybody, this is take 2 tonight. Welcome. It is Saturday night here on Live Long and Podcast, and that means our podcasters are bringing you our 16th edition of Star Trek Radio Theater. We are in this podcast. We reenact scripts from different Star Trek series in some creative and fun voices often, but sometimes not. Sometimes they're more authentic to the original performances. We are doing an episode tonight called Sub Rosa, which is from The Next Generation's 7th season, the 14th episode from that season. This is from January 31st, 1994. It first aired. A story by Jeri Taylor, based on some material by Jeanna F. Gallo and written by Brannon Braga, who was the showrunner on Voyager. So this is one where Beverly Crusher falls in love with a space ghost or something along those lines, as it's famously known. So we're going to all be playing different parts. As I said, I will introduce the cast at the end, but as per our normal process, I will come off camera and you'll be able to see along on the visual who's playing who, and we hope you enjoyed the show. And with no further ado, let's get into it. All right.
Fade in. We focus on a graveyard. A traditional funeral is in progress. A large group of mourners, humans and aliens, dressed in traditional Scottish attire, are gathered around a coffin. The setting is a sunny clearing surrounded by a large hedge. Stone-carved tombstones and other traditional graveyard details can be seen. Picard and Troi are there as well, wearing their dress uniforms. Beverly is standing at the head of the coffin, speaking to the group. It's a eulogy, and Beverly speaks with great fondness.
Most people on this colony will remember my grandmother as a healer, but her abilities went beyond that. She just didn't relieve pain and fight illness. She knew that well-being is more than a healthy body. Her remedies often included words of advice as well as medicinal teas, and they often were just as bitter tasting. I will miss Felisa Howard very much. Her healing, her advice, and most of all, her inspiration that she has provided me throughout the years. Rest in peace, Nana.
And so we commit her body to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope that her memory will be kept alive within us all.
Amen.
Amen.
The mourners begin a ritual procession by the coffin. As they walk past, each one of them takes a handful of dirt and tosses it onto the coffin. Suddenly, a single flower is thrown onto the coffin, a camellia, bright against the dark wood. Beverly looks up to see a man walking away. He briefly turns to look at her and then continues on. Beverly is standing by the graveside, where two colonists are using old-fashioned shovels to fill in the grave with dirt. A mourner hugs Beverly, then walks off. A moment later, Troi walks up to Beverly.
That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Deanna. Did you notice a strange man at the service? He was in his mid-30s with longish hair.
No.
He threw a flower on Nana's grave. A camellia. It was her favorite flower. She used to keep them all over the house.
Maybe he was a friend or one of her patients.
It was a very personal gesture, and he gave me a remarkable look. Well, I guess I should be going back to the house. There are some things that I need to do. It's only a few minutes from here. Would you mind coming along?
I'd love to.
Thanks.
Beverly and Troi leave the graveyard. We focus on the graveside. Picard and Governor Maturin are strolling along, having a pleasant conversation.
How long do you plan on staying?
A few more hours? Why?
Well, as you know, Caldos is one of the first terraforming projects of the Federation. Our weather controls and fusion systems are nearly a century old. I wouldn't mind having a Starship engineer take a look at them. Perhaps give us a few upgrades? Maybe in exchange for a tour of the colony and a home-cooked meal?
Well, we are due at Starbase 621 tomorrow morning, but we could delay for a few days. Yes, I'm sure we could find the time.
Excellent.
Picard looks around at the peaceful setting. I would enjoy that tour. Caldos colony is a most impressive accomplishment. I actually feel as if I'm in the Scottish Highlands.
That was the intent. The cornerstone of every building in town was brought from Edinburgh, Glasgow, Aberdeen. The founders wanted everyone to feel they had a piece of the real thing here. They didn't want to just imitate Scotland. They wanted to recreate it.
Tell me, Governor, I'm curious. You're obviously not Scots yourself. What was it that drew you here?
Something about the culture, the heritage. When I was a boy, my family visited Glam's Castle in Scotland. As I looked out across the Highlands, I felt as if I was at home.
We focus on the Howard home. The front door opens. Troi and Beverly enter the dimly lit living room. Troi looks around as Beverly walks over to tend to the fireplace. Troi walks over and picks up a picture of the doctor and her grandmother.
Your grandmother had remarkable green eyes.
Every woman in the Howard family has had green eyes, except for my mother and me.
How well do you remember your mother?
Very well. I loved her very much.
Beverly gets up from tending the fire and sits to face Troi.
I can remember her face smiling down at me. I can remember the sound of her voice and her scent. But mostly I remember Nana, who raised me after my mother died.
She picks up a pierced metal lamp with a flickering candle in it. Ooh, the foreshadowing.
That's beautiful.
It's a family heirloom. It's been in the Howard clan for generations. It's supposed to symbolize the enduring Howard spirit. Wherever they go, the shining light to guide them through their fortune. Nana always kept it lit. I remember sitting here listening to ghost stories with only the candle burning.
Nana always did keep it lit. You should take it with you.
I think I will.
I'm going to head back to the ship.
You don't have to leave.
I just thought you'd like some time alone. I'll see you later.
Thanks.
Troi exits. Beverly looks around, taking in the house. Then she picks up a large leather-bound journal sitting on a side table with several other books. She eyes it with curiosity, runs her fingers over the cover, and opens it. It's her grandmother's journal. Beverly begins to flip through the pages, intrigued by what she reads. She stands, still turning the pages, and walks up the staircase. After a silent beat, a noise is heard at the door. The rattling of the lock. The door creaks open. And a man steps into the house. It's good old Ned Quint, a dour Scottish man in his mid-50s. He walks directly to the table where the exotic candle is burning. He eyes it with an angry and unhappy look, then blows out the flame.
Who's there?
Beverly runs downstairs. And grabs the candle out of Ned's hands.
Who the hell are you doing? Or what the hell are you doing? Get out of my house!
I wouldn't be so high and mighty with me, Beverly Howard Crusher. I spent more time here in the past 5 years than you have been in the past 20.
She looks at him in surprise, taken aback.
How do you know who I am?
I am Ned Quint. I took care of your grandmother's house and her affairs.
Nana never mentioned you.
There's a lot of things she didn't talk about. Let me get rid of that candle.
Quint reaches out to take the candle from her, but she pulls it away.
Why?
That candle has brought nothing but misery and bad luck to your grandmother.
Look, Mr. Quint, I don't know what your relationship was with my grandmother, but this is my house now, and these are my things.
That candle has been a curse on your family for generations. If you had a sense of luck, you'd all listen to me right now and do away with it. Now give it to me.
This is a family heirloom, and I intend to keep it. Now, would you please get out of my house? Now!
He looks at her for a second, then turns to go.
Howard women, always the same stubborn fools. I wash my hands of it now. You stay in this damn house and keep that damned candle. I'll not be responsible for what happens.
Get out!
Finally, he exits and Beverly slams the door behind him. We focus on engineering. Data is working at a console while Governor Maturin looks on.
The colony's aqueduct system is functioning normally, as are the communication relays.
We've been having tremors over the past couple of months. Could you check the seismic stabilizers?
Certainly.
You can't imagine what it's like to try and enjoy afternoon tea while the earth is shaking.
Geordi slides into view on his vintage office chair.
Governor, didn't you know you had a power fluctuation in your weather control system?
Data and Maturin move to Geordi using their legs like a couple of suckers.
No, our weather control's been working perfectly for the last 22 years.
I can isolate the exact source, but the fluctuation seems to be originating from one of the substations that regulates atmospheric humidity for the colony.
Is that going to be a problem?
No, not yet, but the power distribution patterns are already off by 5%.
I suggest we analyze the planet's weather patterns to see if they have been affected.
Data works a panel on the wall behind him.
I am reading unusually high humidity across the entire southern desert region, and there is increasing cloud activity above the northern coastal area, possibly the formation of a storm system.
A storm? In the middle of summer? We don't have rain at this time of year.
Data, let's see if we can correct this. I'll check out the colony's climatic float array.
I will run a diagnostic on the thermal regulators.
Data exits to complete his task, and Geordi gives Maturin a reassuring smile.
Don't worry, Governor. We'll keep it dry.
I certainly hope so. There's a caber toss scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. I'd hate to see it spoiled by an unexpected downpour.
We focus on a corridor. We join Picard and Beverly mid-conversation. Beverly has a hard case slung over her shoulder, and she's holding the leather-bound books seen earlier as they walk down the corridor.
You wouldn't believe what I've been reading in my grandmother's journals. You know she had a lover? Can you believe that? Nana was 100 years old.
It would seem the Howard women have exceptionally vigorous libidos.
I certainly hope so. After all, I hope I can find a handsome young man in his 30s when I pass the century mark.
30s?
Yes! According to these journals, his name is Ronin, and he's just 34 years old. They met just after my great-grandmother's death, and I think I saw him at the funeral. A handsome young man tossed a camellia onto her grave. But the strange thing is, she never mentioned him in her letters. Never once. And yet it appears they spent almost all of their time together. It's as if she led an entire life that I knew nothing about.
The two stop in front of Beverly's quarters to finish their conversation. Well, it looks like we're going to be on Caldos for a few days more. This will be a good opportunity to get your grandmother's affairs in order.
Thank you.
Beverly enters her quarters. Picard is left alone in the corridor and considers what they just spoke about. 30s? We focus on Crusher's quarters. Beverly is in bed reading the journal when she dozes off. The unlit lamp flickers briefly, then her nightgown is moved from her shoulder.
Oh.
A moment later, a whisper.
Beverly.
She suddenly sits up in bed, disturbed and confused by what just happened.
Oh.
We focus on 10 forward. Beverly and Troi are sitting at a table having drinks.
So you dreamt you were in bed with someone?
Not exactly. I was in bed, but there was another person in my dream. It was more of a presence.
You said you felt a touch.
A pair of hands. They were moving across my skin.
Like a caress?
Yes. And there was a voice. A man. He whispered my name. It was as if I knew him, or more like he knew me. He knew exactly how I like to be touched. It was the most physical dream I've ever had. The sensations were very real and extremely arousing.
Well, frankly, I'm envious.
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal. She wrote very detailed descriptions of her experiences with Ronin.
Well, that's bound to cause a dream or two.
Beverly grows thoughtful. A beat goes by, then Troi picks up a pad.
So, shall we start going all over the personnel reports?
Beverly seems not to have heard her. She's still absorbed with the dream.
You know, I think he had a ring on one of his hands when he touched my shoulder. My neck. I wonder if I'll have another dream tonight.
I'd read 2 chapters.
Beverly takes a drink as she continues to daydream. We focus on the graveyard. It is cloudy and overcast. Beverly enters the cemetery and walks toward her grandmother's grave. Ned Quint is carefully tending the grave. Beverly walks over and watches Quint for a moment. Finally, Quint senses her and he stands.
You probably want to be alone. I'll leave.
No, Ned, it's okay. Look, I'm sorry we got off to a bad start yesterday. I've been reading my grandmother's journals and I know how much you meant to her.
Ah, she was a grand lady. You'll not see many more like her. You have your grandmother's fire, that's for sure.
Ned, you're welcome to stay at the house after I've gone. I need someone to take care of that place.
That's very kind of you, lass. But I'll never set foot in that house again. And I recommend you didn't either.
Why?
Like I tried to tell your grandmother, the house is haunted.
Haunted?
You believe what you want, lass. Just don't light the candle.
Why not?
It'll bring the ghost. She's home. Oh, he's out now, wandering across the land, angry at being driven out. That's why he's bringing the storms.
Ned, the weather system's controls is malfunctioning. The Enterprise is trying to repair it.
Oh, sure. But what do you think is causing the malfunction?
I think your imagination is.
Think what you want. See what you want. Just do as I say. Don't light the candle or don't go in the house. For before you know it, they'll be buried. Another Howard in the cemetery.
Quint turns and walks off. The thunder continues to rumble, getting closer. Beverly watches him go, pulling her coat up around her neck, chilled by the air. Then she looks down at the grave. Dozens of camellias have grown all over the grave. Thunder crashes and she scurries away from the graveyard. We focus on the bridge. Picard, Riker, and Worf are at their stations. Worf reacts to his console.
Captain, I am detecting atmospheric turbulence over the colony and large pockets of electrical activity.
On screen, an orbital view of a large, rapidly forming storm system over part of the planet's surface. Rolling gray clouds and crackling lightning.
It is growing in intensity, sir.
Isn't this the most amazing thunderstorm you've ever seen? It looks as if it's aglow with the lights of 1,000 fairies.
Bridge to engineering, Mr. Data. We're reading an extremely large storm system over the Caldos colony. I thought that the weather control malfunction was not severe. We focus on engineering. Geordi and Data sit at a console.
It began as a minor power fluctuation, sir, but the effect has spread throughout the control grid. It has caused an unusual concentration of cumulonimbus activity.
Captain, I suggest we set up a power transfer between the Enterprise and the weather substations. Try to give them enough power to stabilize the storm.
Make it so. We focus on the Howard home. The room is dark. Beverly enters. Her hair and clothing are damp from the rain. Thunder booms outside. And lightning continues to flash in through the windows. The storm is getting worse. She leaves the door open and immediately searches for a lamp. She finds one, turns it on, and to her surprise, the house is filled with camellia flowers. Dozens of them everywhere, arranged to fill every corner and surface of the house.
Who's there? Ned? Is that you? Hello? I know somebody's here, so I suggest you...
A mirror bounces against the wall. She removes it and is about to put it back when she sees the reflection of a man behind her.
Ah!
She drops the mirror, but there is no one there.
Oh, right now, that's it! If you don't show yourself right now, I'm calling the Enterprise, and there will be 10 security guards here within 30 seconds.
Beverly, I've come back for you.
Who are you?
Don't you remember? I came to you last night while you were asleep.
No, that was a dream. I'm calling the Enterprise.
She pulls a comm badge out of her pocket, but before she can activate it, her coat falls from her shoulders as if it were taken off. She takes in a breath, feeling a rush of sensation and emotion. Her eyes lose focus momentarily, as though she's just been given some kind of narcotic.
Now do you remember me?
Yes. What's happening to me? Right now I feel so strange.
I love you, Beverly, just as I loved Felisa before you.
She pauses to think for a moment.
Are you Ronin?
Yes, you saw me at the funeral.
Beverly has a little orgasm.
Oh, who are you?
I'm a spirit.
I don't believe in.
Ghosts? Nor did I in the beginning. I was born in 1647 in Glasgow on Earth.
You're telling me that you're an 800-year-old ghost?
As the voice speaks, Beverly continues her search of the house, looking in every corner, behind every door, but there's no one there.
I found a home with Jessel Howard. She was a pretty lass with a mane of red hair and eyes like diamonds. I loved her very much. When she died, I stayed with her daughter, and on down through the years, generation after generation.
And now you're here on Caldo's colony? 200 light years away?
When your family moved out into the galaxy, I moved with them.
I don't believe you.
I believe you are the most beautiful woman I have ever known.
What's happening to me?
We're becoming one, Beverly. We're going to be together.
I don't understand. Stop it.
Crusher then feels a strange sensation, something she doesn't understand, but can't seem to make him stop. We focus on Crusher's quarters. Beverly is arranging flowers when she hears a door chime.
Come in.
Troi pokes her head into the room to see Beverly is standing at the table arranging flowers.
Hi, Bev. Oh, I just wanted to see if you were going to Makbara class this morning.
No, I think I'll skip it today. I'm exhausted.
Did you have another dream last night?
Not exactly.
Is there anything wrong?
Not at all.
Beverly, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you were seeing someone.
Deanna?
Now I know you're seeing someone.
I'm not seeing anybody. I met someone, that's all.
Well, you obviously have romantic feelings for him. Beverly, when are you going to realize that you can't fool me? Who is it?
Beverly pauses. Then finally she smiles slightly. She's been caught.
All right. I met Ronin.
Ronin? Your grandmother's lover?
He's like unlike anyone I've ever met before. I know this sounds crazy, but I have never known anyone who is so...
Passionate.
Exactly. I can see why Nana fell in love with him. This sounds very strange, doesn't it?
I admit, it's unusual. I'm very happy for you, but I want you to consider something. You and Ronin have both suffered a tremendous loss. Very often, shared traumatic experience can create the illusion of closeness and romance.
Thank you for your concern, but I think I know what I'm doing. Besides, I didn't say I was in love with him. I'm just intrigued.
Troi, for the moment, is satisfied with this and exits the room. We focus on the turbo lift. Picard and Governor Maturin are on their way to the bridge.
You know, Captain, I moved to this colony because it was a recreation of Scotland, but I must admit it's getting to be a little too realistic.
Their turbo lift doors open and they exit to the bridge. Picard and Maturin stop at what they see. There is a dense, low-hanging fog everywhere on the bridge. Data is on his feet, scanning the fog with a tricorder. Riker looks nervous. Worf works his console in the background. What the hell is going on?
There appears to be a condensed suspension of water vapor, approximately 1 degree Celsius.
Fog.
It just sort of rolled in on us. Isn't it wonderful? It's like a million tiny angels hugging your legs.
There has been a malfunction in the ship's environmental control.
We've traced the problem to a power transfer beam. There's some sort of feedback coming from one of the colony's weather stations. Isn't science fun? Another power fluctuation?
Worf reacts to his console.
Okay. Captain, the temperature in 10 forward has dropped to below freezing, and Deck 13 has lost gravity.
Mr. Data, disengage the power transfer. Data works at a console.
I am unable to terminate the connection, sir. A feedback loop has formed in the transfer beam. I will have to go to the substation and attempt to correct the problem from there.
Make it so. Data heads for the turbolift. In the meantime, I think I'll go get my jacket. We focus on the weather control station, a small room lined with consoles and monitors that display various weather tracking information. Many of the monitors are flickering. Data and Geordi enter the room. They both move to a console and start checking the equipment.
I've analyzed the control module in the primary weather control grid. It appears the station is experiencing a system of wide power failure.
This is impossible. The backup system should have.
They spot Ned Quint kneeling beside the console, frantically tearing components out of an opened panel. He looks intent on destroying the console.
Excuse me, sir. You are dismantling the primary power conduit. I must ask you to stop.
Quint ignores him, tears out another handful of circuits. Data walks over to Quint and pulls him out.
No, get away from me. You didn't understand. He's trying to kill us all.
Quint runs over to another open panel and begins frantically working again. Suddenly, a bright flash of green plasma energy leaps out from the dangling circuits and jolts Quint. Quint falls violently to the floor. Data and Geordi move to Quint's side. Data checks for a pulse.
He is dead.
Later, Data and Geordi are working on the panel where Quint was ripping out components. Geordi is laying on the floor doing his best Burt Reynolds impression. Maturin is looking on. Beverly and a nurse are tending to Quint's lifeless body.
Mott line.
Mott LaForge.
But what I could tell, he was trying to shut down the entire weather system, control system. He was pulling out of the primary plasma conduit. That's probably what caused the plasma discharge that killed him.
Maturin shakes his head, baffled by all this.
I knew Ned Quint. He was an honest man. He mostly kept to himself. I don't know why he'd try something like that.
It's going to take some time to get the system back online. We need another day at least.
In the meantime, Governor, you should expect the weather problems to continue.
Maturin nods.
I think you better take a look at this.
Geordi, Maturin, and Data move to Beverly.
Data, you said there was a plasma discharge when the console when Quint was killed.
That is correct.
Well, that wasn't what killed him. I'm detecting an anomalous energy residual throughout his body, right down to the cellular level. Whatever it is, it wasn't the result of a plasma discharge.
Data opens his tricorder and scans Quint's body. Then looks up in puzzlement.
Anything?
I cannot identify the energy residual. However, it appears to have the same anaphasic signature as the power fluctuations we observed in the weather control system.
Then it's possible whatever caused the weather malfunctions also killed Quint.
It is possible.
We should scan the colony and any energy readings that match this anaphasic signature.
Data nods and he moves off with Geordi. Beverly is staring down at Quint's body, preoccupied by something.
Governor, with your permission, I'd like to take the body back to the ship for run further tests.
Of course, Doctor.
Ensign, ask Dr. Salar to run a biospectral analysis.
Yes, Doctor.
You're not going to run the test yourself?
No, I have some things I need to attend to.
Maturin gives her an odd look as Beverly heads for the door. He's confused, but we know what things she has to attend to that are more important than this. We focus on the Howard home. Beverly enters and frantically shuts the door.
Ronin, I've got to talk to you. Are you here?
I'm here. Beverly, did you miss me?
Yes, but I must talk to you. There's been an accident.
I know. Quint is dead.
Why did it happen? What was he doing?
Beverly, there's something more important we should talk about.
Ronin, I've got to know. Quint's dead.
A hand reaches out and cups her face.
Oh.
His touch seems hypnotic. She turns to face him. He maintains contact the whole time.
Ronin.
Yes, I need you to help me.
Help you?
It's not easy for me to take corporeal form. I can't do it for long. I want you to light my candle.
Quint said you lived in the candle. Is that true?
Yes, if I'm away for it too long, I begin to weaken. That's why the women in your family have always kept the candle lit.
The candle's on the ship. I'll go get it.
No, I must go with you.
How?
The power transfer beam. I can travel along it.
Beverly nods, eager to help him.
And when the candle's lit, then what happens?
Then we'll be together. Always.
He takes her in his arms and kisses her. But before it can turn too passionate, he backs away and vanishes, leaving her unsatisfied. In her eyes, we can see that she has completely forgotten about Quint and is only concerned with what Ronin has told her. We focus on Crusher's quarters on the Enterprise. Beverly enters again in an agitated state.
Computer secure door.
She immediately goes to a desk and quickly sorts through her medical kit with an obsessive drive. She finds a laser device, then quickly lights the candle on her bedside table. She sits down on the bed and looks around the room expectantly. She is obviously on edge. She gets up, paces around the room a little, and sits back down. She keeps glancing at the candle, waiting for her next fix.
I lit the candle. Where are you?
Suddenly, from behind her, a pair of hands reaches over her shoulders and caresses her hands. Beverly grabs the man's hands and holds onto them tightly, hanging on for dear life.
It's all right. We're together. We're going to be one. I'm going to become part of you, Beverly. Would you like that?
Oh, yes! More than anything!
As it was with your grandmother and your great-grandmother and all of the Howard women before them, I'll take care of you, and you will feel love as you've never felt it before.
Oh.
He turns into a green mist and enters her. She falls backward onto the bed, swept away in a moment of ecstasy.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on a transporter room. Beverly is stepping onto the transporter platform, where several suitcases can be seen. She is holding the lit candle. A transporter chief is at the controls. Picard rushes into the room, carrying a pad. Beverly, what the hell is this?
I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. I'm leaving Starfleet. Energize.
Belay that order.
Aye, sir.
Beverly, you can't just resign.
I can, and I have. I've decided to stay on Caldos and become a healer like my grandmother. It's a proud Howard tradition, and I've decided to uphold it. Energize.
They stare at each other for a long moment.
I've resigned my commission, so unless you plan on kidnapping me... Ooh.
Finally, Picard nods to the transporter chief. We focus on the ready room. Picard and Troi mid-conversation. Picard is on his feet, tense. They're trying to make sense of the situation.
Beverly was very attracted to Ronin in a very intense and intimate way. She kept going on how she wanted to be the ghost fucker. I warned her that it was all very sudden, but she didn't want to talk about it. So I let her alone. I left her alone with it because it was all weird. I sensed that she was holding something back, that she wasn't telling me the whole truth.
Do you think this Ronin could be exerting some sort of influence over her? That it's because of him that she's staying?
I mean, it's possible, but she may really just love him.
Picard considers. Something still doesn't seem right about all of this. This is a rash decision. All considered. It's not like Beverly at all.
I agree, but she does have the right to make that choice, even if we don't feel it's a good one.
Come. Yay, it's Data.
Captain, Geordi and I have detected an energy residual with the same anaphasic signature as the one we found on Ned Quint's body.
Where?
Approximately 17 kilometers from the center of the colony, sir. It's coming from the cemetery.
Picard and Troi look at each other with puzzlement. Data, I want you to go down to the cemetery. See if you can pinpoint the source.
Aye, sir.
Data leaves. Bye-bye, Data. In the meantime, I would like to meet with this Ronin. We focus on the graveyard. Data and Geordi enter the cemetery, carrying palm beacons and scanning with their tricorders. It's nighttime.
The energy readings are coming from this direction, but I can't get an exact location. I'll try narrowing the scan field.
Data follows the readings and comes to a stop at a single grave.
The energy readings appear to be originating approximately 2 meters below the surface. I believe they are concentrated within the burial site.
It is Felisa Howard's grave. Data and Geordi exchange a look. We focus on the Howard home. The room is dimly lit. The exotic candle is burning brightly. The mood is romantic. Beverly is sitting in an armchair wearing a nightgown. Ronin kneels before her and takes her hands in his.
I'm so glad you're here. I can't imagine what life was like before I met you.
And it'll only get better.
He turns into a green mist and enters her again.
Oh, Ronin. I had no idea I could feel this way.
She writhes in ecstasy. Wow, this is graphic.
We're nearly merged now, as two candles join to form a single light, so we will flourish as one.
Suddenly, there is a knock at the door. Beverly ignores it.
I love you, Beverly.
I love you.
There's a more insistent knock at the door. Beverly still ignores it. We hear the door open. And Picard enters the house. He sees Beverly sitting in the armchair, still in the throes of ecstasy. Beverly? Beverly sits up at the voice, and there is a sense that she has awakened from a deep sleep. She sees Picard and pulls her robe tightly around her and gets to her feet. She's surprised to see him, and a little embarrassed.
Jean-Luc!
Sorry I startled you. I knocked, but there was no answer. The door was open. I hope you don't mind.
What do you want?
Beverly is agitated and tense. He interrupted her special time. Well, I'd hoped to meet your new friend, Ronin.
He's not here.
Well, perhaps I could wait, if you don't mind. I'm really anxious to meet this remarkable young man who swept away not just one, but two of the Howard women. Beverly carries a lit candle with her around the room.
Jealousy doesn't suit you, Jean-Luc.
Have you changed the color of your eyes?
I just grew tired of the other color. Don't you think it suits me?
I think I preferred your eyes the way they were before. I think I preferred you the way you were before, Beverly. She turns on him with anger.
Well, this is the way I am now. And this is my life. I've made my decision and I'm not going to change my mind. So please leave me alone.
Oh no, there's something wrong here. Now, Beverly, this is more than just an obsessive love affair that has got out of hand. Tell me, why is it that no one has seen this Ronin except you?
All right, Captain, here I am. I believe Beverly asked you to leave her alone.
They both turn in surprise as Ronin descends the stairs. Beverly moves to him as if everything were normal. She takes his arm. So, you're Ronin. It's a pleasure to meet you. Where are you from?
Earth, Scotland.
How long have you been on Caldos?
All that matters is that I'm here now, and that Beverly and I plan to be together for the rest of our lives.
Data to Picard.
Go ahead, Data.
Captain, we have located the source of the energy residual. It appears to be concentrated within Felisa Howard's coffin.
Captain, we'd like permission to exhume the body.
You can't do that! Leave her alone!
Why not? What are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything, but I cannot allow you to desecrate her grave.
Data. Ask Governor Maturin's permission to exhume the body. Picard out.
I won't stand for this. I'll go to the governor myself.
Go on. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't know who you are. He'll probably have the same questions that I do. How did you get here? What ship did you come on?
Jean-Luc, leave him alone.
Why don't you answer my questions? What ship? I'd like to look at a passenger list. Where have you been living here? What's your position? Who are your neighbors? Ronin vanishes. Come on, Beverly. We've got to get out of here. He reaches for her hand to pull her away, but a burst of green plasma energy snakes around his body out of thin air. He falls to his knees, then slumps to the floor. Beverly reacts. The shock of seeing Picard hurt seems to propel her into action. She rushes to his side, instinctively helping her friend.
Jean-Luc!
She feels for a pulse and then grabs a medical kit from a nearby table, brings it over and starts to administer aid to him.
Beverly, we must stop the others. They cannot exhume the body.
We just can't leave him here. He might die.
You must come. I'm your love. I am the one who will take care of you.
I can't just let him die.
Beverly, come with me.
Ronin appears and tries to pull Beverly away from Picard's side.
No! No!
She pushes him away and goes to work on Picard. Ronin eyes her, worried, fearful, angry. Then a look of resolve comes across his face.
I'm sorry. I'm going to stop them.
Ronin leaves Beverly, who continues to work on Picard, obviously distressed.
Come on! Come on!
I'm all right, Beverly. Go after him. Go to the cemetery. We focus on the graveyard.
LaForge Enterprise. We're ready down here.
Aye, sir.
The coffin materializes on top of the grave. It is clean and has no dirt on it. That is some damn fine transporting. Damn fine. Chief O'Brien, you have been replaced. There is a new gun in town. Data and Geordi lift the lid of the coffin. We see the dead body of Felisa Howard laying peacefully in the coffin. Data begins to scan her body.
I am reading definite signs of anaphasic energy in her body. It appears to extend to the cellular level.
That's impossible. She wasn't anywhere near the weather station when Quint was killed. She died of natural causes.
I suggest we run a deep tissue scan to look for any signs of...
Suddenly, Felisa's eyes open, green and bright, and she sits up, reaches out, and grabs Data and Geordi by the arms. They are suddenly enveloped in a field of crackling green plasma energy. Data slumps over at the waist, deactivated. Geordi falls to his knees and slumps to the ground.
No! Ronin, stop this! Stop this, please!
Ronin speaks through Felisa's corpse.
Beverly, it's all right. Have trust in me.
You're not Nana. Nana's dead! Leave her alone!
Suddenly, Felisa's body goes limp in the coffin. Ronin appears standing behind Beverly.
Beverly, forgive me. These men were trying to stop us from being together. Once they're gone, everything will be right.
No, it won't! You've been infusing me with the same sort of anaphasic energy that killed Quint!
He was trying to destroy me. I had to defend myself. My love, I could never harm you. I'm here to protect you.
Beverly struggles to stay focused, confronting him.
No, you're not! There's no such thing as a ghost! You're some kind of anaphasic life form, not even a man! Anaphasic energy is extremely unstable! It needs an organic host in order to maintain molecular cohesion, or else you'll die! Isn't that right?
Beverly!
It also scanned the candle. The flame is plasma-based. You were using it as a receptacle for yourself in order to get to me! in order to merge with me. You have been using me, Nana, my entire family for generations, centuries.
And I loved all of them, and they loved me. Give me the candle, Beverly.
No! No!
Ronin glances at Geordi, who is still laying on the ground, dazed, and gives him another jolt.
Put it down, or I will kill him. Set it down and walk away.
Beverly sets the candle down near Ronin's feet and begins to stand up, but suddenly she grabs Geordi's phaser off his belt and vaporizes the candle.
No!
Beverly taps Geordi's communicator.
Crusher to Riker! Will, close off all the plasma conduits in the weather control system. I'll explain later.
Oh, I love closing plasma conduits. They make the most wonderful sound. Life is a wondrous miracle.
You've nowhere left to go.
Yes, I do.
He moves towards Beverly with intent. Beverly aims the phaser at him.
Keep away from me!
Ronin keeps coming. A threat. Beverly has no choice. She fires at Ronin. He stumbles backward, but quickly recovers.
Beverly, I love you, Beverly.
He makes a sudden lunge toward her. Beverly fires a sustained burst. Ronin is quickly vaporized in midair. Beverly drops the phaser and falls to the ground, sobbing.
Oh man, I lost my man.
Captain's log supplemental. Commander LaForge and Mr. Data have recovered from their exposure to the anaphasic energy, but I'm afraid Dr. Crusher's recovery might be a more personal nature. We focus on 10 forward. Beverly and Troi walk to a table with drinks in hand. Beverly's eye color has returned to its normal shade of blue.
Somehow, he realized that one of my ancestors had a biochemistry that was compatible with his energy matrix. I imagine that he took human form and seduced her like he did me. I was about to be initiated into a very unusual relationship. You might call it a family tradition. But there's a part of me that's a little sad.
Uh-huh. How so?
I reread the entries in my grandmother's journals. Whatever else he might have done, he made her very happy.
Troi just gives her a WTF look. The end.
All right, and that concludes our reading of Star Trek: The Next Generation's episode Sub Rosa. All right, that was fun. Okay, let's get into it. Jane, why don't you come over here? So we'll introduce the whole cast. Okay, so let's. I don't know who I'm going to start with. Let's start with my brother Jeff. How about that? So Jeff, you were playing the role of Counsellor Deanna Troi. I was Dave. I'm Dave. I was playing the part of Beverly Crusher. We had a lot of girl talk in this episode, Jeff.
Yeah,
a lot of bonding.
What was it like to fuck a ghost?
It was wonderful. Okay, and also you were also playing the role of Worf as well. Let's bring in our friend Mott. Hey, Mott, how you doing? So Mott was playing the role of good old Ned Quint and Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge. Great job. And
And a
That's
Felisa.
we and a Felisa, yeah.
It just came out. Like, I know it was anaphasic. It just, I don't know, with the accent, it just somewhere the L came in there.
No, it was fun. It was all good. I was just like, Geordi LaForge is the worst engineer. He doesn't even know what kind of energies there are. All right. Sitting here on my right is my wife Jane, who was playing the role of Lieutenant Commander Data, as well as you had one line as Felisa Howard's corpse, which is actually Ronin controlling her. But you were like, "Oh, I'm a ghost lady." It was very funny. Bringing in Kevin Millard, who was playing the role of Governor Maturin, who was the governor of this colony, as well as you played Riker, the very enthusiastic, positive Riker, which I enjoyed.
That Riker, there's some good lines.
I thought he was just like Rutherford from Lower Decks.
Yeah, he was a little bit like Rutherford.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry, where did Jessica go?
Uh-oh.
Oh, there she is. Sorry,
Oh,
I just a lot.
okay.
There's a new interface here on Be Live. I'm still getting used to. And Jessica Chan was playing the role of Ronin, the space ghost. The
Come light my candle.
Oh, okay. Got your own candle.
All right, so we can't get all five cameras on here at once, so some of us have to be heard. But just whoever wants to sort of take the lead here, any initial reactions, any sort of thoughts? How do you guys feel that went?
I loved it. I love those Ronin scenes with you.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah.
I almost lost it at one point. I was just like, oh, God. Oh, God. That's
Yeah. I've never had to do this character for this amount of dialogue. Like, I've done this version of Crusher twice before, I think, but they were always like smaller little bits, and this was a lot. Luckily, my voice didn't crack, but it was intense. Also, I don't know, you probably didn't hear anybody, but just when we started the broadcast, sorry, I'm just going to, I'll take Jeff off for a minute. Just when we started the broadcast, so our neighbor, I guess, like, just around the corner, decided to have a fireworks
The
going
park or something? Like, I don't know.
We don't know. And we're like, what is going? Why would there be fireworks tonight? And
It's like 4th of July fireworks. It's like for
it was just like
wild.
And you probably didn't hear it on the microphones, but it was incredibly distracting for the first, I don't know, act of this episode. So
We have them most nights of the week around here.
yeah, it's just fireworks all the time.
Yeah. It ever since COVID started, and
So bad shit always happens in Philly, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. They heard you were on this podcast and they just wanted to light some fireworks in your honor.
they were actually blaming it on Antifa for a little while, and they were saying that Antifa was basically lightening up the people, getting them used to sounds of like gunfire and stuff like that, so they can come in the middle of the night and burn their homes down. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
great.
Wow.
Is that what was going on?
Oh, that I have around here.
Yeah, I think it was from the house that your cousin Shay hangs out with.
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably where it came from. That run like
so
show, but
they're getting you used to fireworks, and then bad things are going to happen to you.
Bad things happen there.
yeah, great job, everybody. Like I loved. Everyone did great. I don't want to. Picard as was a Southern Picard, if I'm correct. Yes, it was good. What ship are you on, and all that.
That was very good.
Yeah. Who was the passenger?
Yeah.
Keeping an accent when you yell is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
When you have to scream no, whatever, I had to do that big no, because I felt like I had to bring that energy like Gates McFadden did in the original episode, but still in this particular version of Crusher that I've crafted, and it almost snuck up on me too.
There was like, one point where I thought you were gonna go when you're wondering where he is.
Yeah, it was in the spirit of that, but I just read the line as it was. But it was.
Oh, and I didn't go anywhere. Here, my mouse, I ended up doing tilt, which I never do. So I was sitting here doing flipping my screens with just the wheel, and then all of a sudden I hit tilt, and I think I have tilt programmed to jump like 2 screens at once, and I had my screen instead of scrolling up and down, jumping. And I was like, uh-oh. And I knew my line was like coming up. And then I was like, where was I? I flipped the screens back and forth looking for the highlighting, like, and I was freaking out.
Okay, we didn't know what was going on, so we
I think we've all been there. Where you're like, oh my god, I gotta find that line. Where to go?
We just didn't know if you had missed the line.
Oh no! And as soon as you finally said something, is right when I finally locked on and found it.
That happens to me sometimes where like I usually go and highlight my lines in advance, but I've missed a line and then I'm completely oblivious to it. I'm like, oh, I did that tonight. Yeah.
I read on my phone and like I accidentally my thumb will hit the scroll
part and suddenly it'll go like 5 pages. And
but it's always like 2 lines before it's mine, and I'm like, no.
That's exactly what happened. I was in panic mode.
Yeah.
Well, like everyone has their own technique. I don't think I could ever trust to read off a phone.
Oh, I couldn't do a phone because I've tried to just when I get it on email, I'm like, I do that every like 10 lines, and my thumb does something, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
no way I can do that live.
Screen and then page all the way up to the top.
It's and it's just so I can do like a control find very quickly if I need to or whatever. It's just because when you're in the rhythm, you want to keep things moving, right? So it was good. I really had a lot of fun tonight, everybody. Great job. Mott, you killed me, man, with your friggin' Scottish accent. That was
Dinner,
go in the house.
Yeah, and then you like,
I lost it at one point because everybody was laughing so hard.
Who could blame you?
Dinner, light the candle.
It's like it's literally written like that, like in the Scottish like gibberish.
Yeah, it's always fun when it gets to a point where none of us can talk. We're just laughing.
And this episode is graphic. Like this, you say it, it's just like I'm like orgasms. I'm having orgasms. So that was different. That was not something I've had to do as an actor before. But maybe I want to keep doing it. So who knows? So
there's a whole industry.
All right. Well, I think this will be my last episode.
I kept thinking of the Spice Girls song when I was doing Ronin's line, because the night is the night when two become one.
Oh, Ronin, you know my favorite song.
I want to write fan fiction and have you guys just do it. Like those two characters.
Where they're singing Spice Girl songs around the campfire with a candle lit. I'll teach you a ghost story. It's like Scary Spice. So okay, so that was a lot of fun. I can see like Jeff is not even at his desk right now on below, so I'm not even gonna circle back with him. But
he's making a pizza.
He's making a pizza. He's good, he needs a lot of calories. So he's a postman. He burns them off. All right. So thanks everybody. We're gonna be back next week. What's next? Voyager's next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know Michael Chan is making a return to the cast, so we're gonna have more actors, I think, than ever. For maybe this next one, which is exciting. We're gonna try. Maybe we'll try to pick an episode that just got a lot to go around, especially more of an ensemble episode. I think is what we'll strive for. Than maybe this one that's more Crusher focused is an example. So we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you're enjoying this season of Star Trek Radio Theater. It's probably a few more weeks or months. We said we kind of wrap up before 2021 hit up for season 1, and then we'll talk about the launch date for season 2. But we know we want to finish season 1 with a big movie script, which will be like a 2-hour read. So that's going to be big. So make sure to subscribe. Check out all our other channels. So Live Long and Podcast is what this is a Star Trek channel where we do this on the weekends with Star Trek Radio Theater. Tuesday nights is our Deep Space Nine rewatch series. We're just in the beginning of season 6. We're kind of like the first quarter of season 6. So, sorry, not season 6, season 2. What am I saying? We're in season 2 of Deep Space Nine. So join us for that. On Wednesday nights, we do random original series episode rewatches. and with my dad and Jeff and Geordi and Adam Woodward, a few others. So check that out. And on Thursdays, we have one more episode of Star Trek Lower Decks to watch to wrap up their first season. We're going to do a wrap up with a bigger panel sort of at the end, but that's usually with Jeff, Jamil, and I. And then we're going to transition that in, I think, next week or the week after into Star Trek Discovery. So that's all of the Star Trek stuff. Our other channels are Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, where we cover reality and scripted TV shows, including Big Brother 3 times a week, USA. And then we also do Trivial Debates, which is our monthly debate show where we argue about movies, sports, TV, and more. Ashley just hosted the last one. It was our first ever team up match. And so check that out. It was just this past Sunday. You can check that out at Trivial Debates on Facebook and YouTube. So that's it for tonight. Thanks everybody for watching and listening wherever you are, and make sure